What is up, everyone? Killer35 Durant here, and I'm bringing you another video of Madden 2019. Actually, it's going to be my Madden 2020 wish list. And so there's actually kind of a lot of things that I want Madden to do with, their next game. And I'm actually going to go into a wish list that I made 2 years ago. And it's actually kind of funny because I made this wish list like 2 years ago, and they've implemented almost nothing of what I put on there. And so I think actually, like, if I went down the entire list, there was about 10 things on the list, and they only added one, and that was to create a custom draft class. And this was a Madden 2018 draft wish list. So in like the 2 years that I've been pretty much wanting things to be implemented into Madden, they've added almost nothing. So let's get into it. And so the first thing is fixing real player motion. I know that this isn't much that they can do, and it's probably not going to get fixed really anytime soon, but I remember in the old gen consoles, and especially I'm going to show you with NCAA 14 gameplay, is that they have now the Frostbite engine, but before they had the Infinity engine, and NCAA 14 had the Infinity engine too. And the player movement with the Infinity engine made it so that you would never see the same hit twice. They really made that like a big talking point when they first introduced it in Madden 13, where they said you're never going to see the same hit twice, you're never going to see the same collisions. It kind of made blocking a little better. It kind of did a whole lot of things with the run game, where, pushing the piles and all of that fun stuff. Now it kind of just seems like players are running on skates, is what I described it as on Twitter to one of their developers. I said that, it's kind of just feels like I'm roller skating everywhere, and, it's just it's not working for me personally. A lot of people like the real player motion, and I'm not saying that graphically the game is any bad. I actually think graphically the game's a lot better. That's the thing that I always say, is I say that the game looks pretty, but the gameplay itself is actually pretty bad. I actually hate, and it's been like this for a long time, from the first next gen Madden, which was I think Madden 25, to now, where it's just been awful. And so I think that that's more of an engine thing that they're gonna have to fix, and I don't think that they're stepping away from the Frostbite engine anytime soon. So that's just gonna have to be something that I'm just gonna have to deal with. And so, as you're probably gonna see with the video I'm gonna input, I'm probably gonna do NCAA 14, its gameplay, where I'm just cutting everywhere, and you see me running around the pocket with the quarterback freely. You can't do that stuff in the next gen Madden, and I really missed that sort of gameplay. I feel like I was a lot better in Madden when I was able to do that. I felt like I had more control of the player than I do now. I see a lot of gameplay where people are doing crazy things, and I'm just over here saying to myself, I can't do that. So that's the number one thing that I want them to fix with Madden 20 overall. Mostly this is gonna just be CFM stuff, because what do I think that they should fix with Ultimate Team? Nothing, because all you have to do is just add one or two microtransactions, and they'll make enough money. I think that the first thing that I want them to implement in CFM is maybe kind of take a step back, maybe just taking a step back to go forward. Probably kind of splitting it up. If you want to have a career mode and then like a franchise mode, do that sort of thing. I don't personally like long shot, but a lot of people have said that it was a good thing, so I'd be surprised if they did not bring it back. Having kind of like the superstar mode or the career mode and focusing on those implements, I think that having those would be kind of beneficial to EA, so that they can kind of just get their head back into it and then integrate it again into CFM. So that's kind of like the first thing, is maybe kind of separating them so that you can focus on one issue at a time. And so now having the first thing in terms of franchise mode is having multiple players on one team. Now, I've said this for a while. This last year they implemented team play on Ultimate Team, and I think that they were kind of implementing that. And I described it as, so if me and my friend wanted to be the next no-fly zone, as in the best corner tandem ever, me be Aqib Talib and him be Chris Harris Jr., we should be able to do that, or have like, a wide receiver quarterback tandem that we played every single game, and I think that would be fun. A lot of other people think that that could be fun as well. I just think that it would be hard for them to implement that in terms of like putting people on the same team. And so it could be different. It could be better or worse. I don't know. That's the first thing, is just adding team play as an element into like regular gameplay. The next is more places to relocate to. Now, they actually somewhat added this into the last game, and I'm glad that they did that, but I think that they should expand it as much as having at least one city in every single state. Because I know that there's probably Iowan or North Dakota Madden players out there that want to move Madden teams out to their city. I'm from New Mexico, so I would love to see them add Albuquerque as one of the relocated cities. So that's just one of the things that I just wanted to touch on. That is the next one is personalizing the players, letting the discipline trait actually mean something. If they're undisciplined, they'll have a lot more personal fouls, or maybe even get fined or suspended. I think that having a discipline trait kind of would go well. I think it would also help if you had a discipline trait so that it goes into like contract talks. Maybe he's really, really just like 100% for the money, or whatever the case may be. You could have a Le'Veon Bell out there and he wants $20 million a year as a running back because he thinks that he's 40% of your offense, so that he thinks he should get paid 40% of your offensive salary. So, and you know, I think that they should be negotiable. So I think that having discipline or just personality. I remember in Madden 11 they had the swagger trait, which I don't really know what that did to players, but personalizing the players, I think, personalizing the coaches. You know, Vic Fangio's not going to have the same coaching personality or tenaciousness as, say, the Atlanta Falcons coach. I don't even know what his name is, Dan Quinn. And so I think that having personality in the players and coaches could definitely make it different. It would add just a little bit of immersion into the game. Maybe adding some players' Twitters into the game, seeing what they tweet, because you have that in NBA 2K where you have players tweet. It's really only when they re-sign or when they're coming back from injury, but that's still adding immersion that Madden doesn't have. And so the next one, I think, is uncapping the length of the career in CFM. That was mainly something I wanted back when player mode was something that I liked doing extensively. Like when I had a quarterback, and the cap for players is 15 seasons and the cap for coaches is 30 seasons. But I want there to be uncapped up until you just can't get signed anymore. I want it to be so that if I wanted to be Peyton Manning or Brett Favre, play 18, 19, 20, 21 years in the NFL, and I was good enough to do it, my player kept getting re-signed, the team still wanted him, then hey, why not play it until your 40s? I mean, I think that they should let you do it. I mean, even when you're not playing in career mode and you're playing in coach mode, you have players going into their 17th and 18th seasons. So why shouldn't we be able to, right? That's been something I've wanted for a long time because it's been capped at 15. I remember I think it was Madden 13 is where this issue came up where he was an 89 overall running back, and I was really close to breaking the rushing record, or I had already broken the rushing record. And they just made me retire because it was the 15th season. And so that's something that I just didn't like. I think they should uncap it. I think as long as you're getting re-signed or you still are under contract, that you should be able to play as long as you'd like up until, let's say, you're 45. Maybe they should cap it at an age. 45 is the age. And so the next one actually kind of goes in with it, years off. So if I'm 33 years old and I don't get a contract from a team I like, or let's say a team cuts me, which I think that should be something in itself. I think teams should be able to cut you if you're not playing well. But if I'm 33 years old and I don't get a contract, maybe I'd just like to take a year off, or be maybe Des Bryant and hold off until mid-season until someone really needs you, and so that they can sign you mid-season. I think we should be able to do that. I don't think that we should be affected by. I don't think that if we don't get signed in one off season, I don't think we should be able to. We should be forced to retire. I know that there have been ways around that, but it's kind of weird. So the next one is the biggest thing, and I'm going to go back to NCAA 14, and that is the coaching carousel, but that is not even like remotely what I mean. So that you have to add a whole bunch of things for the coaching carousel to work. Right now, you have coaches with levels, and that's it. That's all of their ratings are based off of how they get hired is their level. You have their schemes and their levels. I think that they should have a complete overhaul of coaching, like the coach mode and franchise mode, because it is so far off from what immersiveness is in football. They should be able to. They should have grades, kind of like an NCAA 14, where they have a prestige, where it's A plus, A minus, B, and it changes every single year. It should be like that. I think that instead of having a coach level where you level up, I think there should be skills trees, which I'm showing you in this footage. It's really, really hard for me to enjoy being a coach in Madden, where you're not moving up, you're just starting as a head coach. I think that they should bring in offensive, defensive coordinators, which I feel like you can implement that because you already have it so that you can play offense or defense only. And so having an offensive or defensive coordinator, being able to work your way up into, a head coaching job and having there's more of a variety. There's more types of coaches that you'll see. I think that you can bring back some old school playbooks and maybe even have that, where I know that there's some pretty generic playbooks that you can choose, West Coast spread, but maybe even bringing back the spread option or Chip Kelly's playbook. I use that a lot in Madden, and I was kind of upset that it wasn't in Madden anymore. And so just implementing stuff like that where coaches have grades, and then there's a coaching carousel at the end of the season where teams are firing coaches. It wouldn't be as extensive because there's only 32 teams, and so that would make, really, for limited spots, 96 coaching positions in the NFL, and not even a lot of them would have to be filled every offseason, but it would still be something to watch. And then this next one kind of goes into what my old one is with the coaching carousel, is the dynamic development. Now, they recently changed development, so I don't think that they're going to make any changes to this anytime soon. But dynamic development, so making it so that the player's development and the coach's development both matter, but a coach's development isn't the same as another coach's development. So right now, it's other than anything else, it's just, can a coach develop quarterbacks? And it's yes or no. Can a coach develop running backs? Yes or no. Some coaches might be able to develop quarterbacks better than other coaches. And this, like I said, that this can go into coaching carousel. So maybe you have a quarterback who's a second-year player, kind of like maybe Jared Goff. So you have a quarterback who's in his second year. The previous coach wasn't really that good at developing quarterbacks. So maybe this next year you want to make it so that the coach that you're hiring has a better quarterback development rating. Make it have a rating. Kind of like the old Maddens, where every coach had a rating where if you hired them, it would be quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and offensive line, and then defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs. And that's all, as simple as it has to be. The quarterback rating for one coach can be 87. I don't know how you would raise or lower them, or what you would have to do. Maybe quarterback statistics would have to play a factor. Maybe there's going to have to be kind of like a developmental trait for them to have to go up and down. But I think adding something like that, rather than just it being, well, can they develop quarterbacks? Can they develop running backs? Because there are some coaches that are defensive-minded coaches that coach defensive players in different positions better than others. So can Vic Fangio coach linebackers? Yes, he can. Can he also coach kickers? He might be able to coach kickers, but he wouldn't be able to coach kickers better than, say, John Harbaugh. So that's kind of the area that I wanted to put it into. And so that would kind of make development dynamic. I don't know how you would do it, whether it be XP based again or not. But I think that the old system, I think it was easy to abuse the old system. But I don't think that there was anything technically wrong with it. Because no matter what system you have, you're always going to have to be able to fight off people being able to exploit it. Like, if you keep the system now, there's probably going to be someone learning how to exploit it right now. And so that is it in terms of coaching. I think maybe adding sliders to how much certain players play. I think saying running back by committee, you rarely see running backs taking 300 carries a season anymore. Although with Todd Gurley and Ezekiel Elliott, you're starting to have it having every down running backs coming back, but still for the most part, most NFL teams have 2 or 3 running backs running the ball. And I think that you should be able to kind of have a slider to choose how much your first and second running back, the carries that they get. You used to be able to do this, and you might even still be able to do this in game. But in terms of like simulating, maybe some guys just like the GM, and they don't like seeing that their 76 overall speedster running back is getting 330 carries a season, and he's getting mad that he's only having 2.8 yards per carry. So that might be a big part of it. And then the last thing I think for franchise mode is just, please, for the love of God, let us see the contracts that we are accepting and declining. I'm going to show you in the video here. All it is that you're accepting or declining a contract. You don't know how long the contract is. You don't know how much money the contract is. And I know that that doesn't really matter. But another thing for immersion is that it matters to me. Is that I just think I want to know how long my contract is. I want to, because I don't want a 2-year contract. Maybe another team's going to give me a longer term contract. Or maybe I just want to wait out until the free agency to see how the market looks. Maybe I've done my homework and looked at who else is going to be a free agent this year. Maybe I'm going to be the best free agent, so someone's going to offer me a lot of money. Who knows? I just think that they should be able to let us see the contract that we are accepting and declining. And so that's it as far as franchise mode goes. Now, presentation. Now, I think that this next part of presentation is going to be really, really hard for them to implement. I just want it to be out there. I think that they should have more commentators, and I'm going to go back to 2K as an example. In 2K, they have the same 2 commentators, but they also have a third commentator who differs from game to game. I think that you should be able to, I think that they should have 2 teams of commentators, one for NFC home team games and one for AFC home team games, kind of like Fox and CBS, but maybe have it different. I don't know, name it. NFL on Madden and NFL on Madden 2, or whatever you want to call it. But having 2 teams, and they've been able to put multiple teams, not maybe in the same game, but like within different games. Like they had Brandon Godden and Charles Davis in this game, and then it was Jim Nantz and Phil Simms, and then before that it was Gus Johnson. And I think that maybe they should contact 2 sets of teams to do games on primarily X team and primarily on X team in terms of the leagues like NFC and AFC, and they should just do it based off that so that there's a little bit more immersion, so it feels like you're playing like an NFC game and it feels like you're playing an AFC game. So just so that there's more, you get more for less. So a lot of people say that at first the commentary is always great. When they have new commentators, it sounds great, it sounds amazing, it's great. And then after a while, it's like, wow, I'm hearing the same things over and over and over again. I think it would take longer for it to feel that way if you had more commentators. So maybe have Tony Romo and Phil Simms do one, or Jim Nantz, because they're so great. And then maybe have Brandon Godden and Charles Davis on another one, or maybe even have whoever. I don't even know. But just having more than one set of people doing it, I think that would make it better for presentation purposes. I think changing the ticker on the bottom into making it look a little bit more, more seeable, because a lot of things get skipped over in it. So they show the stats and they show the score, but I don't know if they show who has the ball, what down and distance it is right then and there. Maybe even having an in-game cut scene to where like there's a big play that happened in another game, kind of like what happens in CBS. So I just think that maybe adding that, I know that would be kind of difficult, so I'm just putting it out there, so maybe it can be put into another game, or they can work at it at another game. They had this in ESPN NFL 2K5, where in halftime they showed highlights from the game that you're watching, and in the end of the week they showed highlights from every game in a bit of an ESPN take. Now I don't think that they should or can add that, but I think it would be pretty cool. They had that in Madden 11, where they had Charles Davis, I think, or someone who had highlighted every single game of the week, and then they had the playoff picture and all that stuff. I think that would be cool. And so I don't know how long that is, but so yeah, those are all the things in terms of presentation and CFM that I think that they should add. So what do you guys think? Comment down below in the comment section. I know that I feel like I've been rambling on for a long time about franchise mode, but it really doesn't seem like they touched it a lot in recent years. So that's just why I wanted to make a little wish list for me. This was actually my Madden 18 wish list. I had all of these things on it, and I also added that I had create a draft class, which was the only thing that they kind of implemented from my wish list. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and if you want to see more videos like this, like the video and subscribe, and definitely share so that the EA community can see what I want to happen. So thank you guys for watching.